Pretty good. I'm Franz. This is Andy.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the November 2022 Town Hall for Concrete CMS. Good to have you. Checking in on how things are going with concrete and end of the year, getting into the holiday season.
So, yeah, getting close.
Man, goes fast. Every day I get older, the days go faster. So that's exciting and depressing all at once. Let's see. I think it'll be a pretty nimble show today. We're not going to get into any lengthy show and tells, but if you've got questions, you should be asking them in the chat now so we can address them at the end. But try to keep this pretty nimble and post lots of other kind of granular videos as we go throughout the month. Do have some relatively new news, I guess, to share. So we'll get into that right away and here we get. So first off, we did some core releases in the past weeks. Did 8.5.12, I think, and 9.13. Want to talk about that at all, Andy?
Yep. No, that is correct. We originally planned to do 8.5.10, and then we did that. And then there were a couple little hiccups along the way. Nothing major, but just some code that made its way into the release for 8.5 that did not run on very old versions of PHP 5 that are still supported in the 8 branch. So most people these days are probably running PHP 7 at least, so they wouldn't have been affected even if they updated right away to 8.5.11. But for those who are still stuck on some older versions of PHP, we hear you, and we have released 8.5.12 to mitigate that, and 9.13 as well. Those are both security releases. Nothing in the way of new features there, just some updates for security and some fixes. So definitely those are highly recommended for sites. And go out and grab those.
Yeah, I would add that if you are on the 8 branch and looking at end of life announcements and, well, what do I do with this? Some of this will help you. So by upgrading to 8.12, you should be able to continue to keep your site running on a PHP LTS version, long-term support, which is available from at least Ubuntu, and I think a couple of other vendors have their own kind of LTS versions of PHP. And that will keep you healthy and running. Obviously, you want to be on version 9. That's where all the new features come. That's where we really prioritize our energy. But we have committed to continue to make sure that the version 8 branch is safe enough if you're willing to run on LTS support from PHP. So
yeah, we're continuing to update the 8 version with security fixes, but it doesn't necessarily get bug fixes. So version 9 is definitely the place to be if you're finding little wrinkles around concrete and hoping that they get fixed. But yes, it is true. 8.5 will continue to run, and we are patching it, and it will continue to be a stable, secure platform for the foreseeable future.
Yep, there's some blog posts about this on the .org side, concretecms.org, talk about kind of like what version you should be on. And also, I would, in final note, I would add that while we were talking about a bunch of security releases, or security patches, these are relatively low risk stuff. This is kind of internal. I already have access to the dashboard. I can put something in this field and make the dashboard return an alert message. So there's nothing in here that is, oh my goodness, there's a gaping hole facing the rest of the world. So we got some new pen testers this year. We shout them out. They did a great job.
Sometimes they were quite thorough.
That kind of, it's a little ish, but this crew was solid. So if you are interested in pen testers, check out Fortbridge from the UK. They are good to work with, and I would highly recommend them. So
yeah, fast and thorough, which is
there
great.
You go. It's nice to have someone checking it out in detail. Let's see, moving right along. We're doing something internally called Find Out Fridays, where after our Friday staff meeting, we dedicate a half hour to the more junior devs here asking questions of the more senior devs. And a lot of those questions are being informed by stuff from the forums. So I know we've always done our best to try to shed light in the forums as time allows. We've created a little bit more infrastructure to be able to shed more meaningful light. So we've been doing that for a few weeks and recording that content. We haven't started sharing those because we have to go scrub them for keys and that kind of stuff. And sometimes they're a little chatty. I might share them anyways, just for those of you that know how to display things at 2x. Mostly, I think they're going to inform improvements to our documentation. So be on the lookout for those showing up in video format and or new how-tos and better docs and that kind of thing. Also in the news, 9.2, which is the branch that we are working on for release in the new year, has now had the API. What were we calling that? It was like a proposal. Yeah. And you folded that into 9.2 official, right?
I did. I have, along with some other things that we decided we wanted internally that weren't really a result of the proposal, just additional API improvements and tweaks to it as well. But if you took a look at that proposal, it will be in the core as of 9.2 early next year. You have to turn it on, of course, just the same as you would normally. But yeah, it's in there and pretty excited about it.
Yeah, pretty cool. And let's see, big news for November. We have talked vaguely over the last few months about we're thinking about the marketplace. And I want to share more of the details of that thinking. I'm not going to show you anything, but I'm going to talk at you for a couple of minutes and kind of plant a few seeds, which hopefully you find exciting. We'll also do a forum post on this so we can spur some discussion there, I'm sure. But some reasonably significant improvements in a general approach. And that 9.2 thing segues well to it because we needed that API to do this. So the first point is we are building a new marketplace. The current one is on a very old code base and it works and we're happy about that, but upgrading it is not a viable path. So we are building a new marketplace 2.0, we call it internally. And it is based on a standalone copy of Concrete that has a bunch of Docker and objects to manage the data on the back end, marketplace listings, licenses, all that stuff. So the same type of interface you would expect out of a dashboard in Concrete. So it's consistent, clean, looks well, easy to understand, and then serves up data around extensions via that same API that we have folded into 9.2. So see all the little strings connect. It is headless, so it makes it easy to work on it and then share information from it to different applications, which is kind of how our ecosystem has matured over the years. We are focused, the first real world use of it will be to provide extensions to the Concrete sites that we are hosting today just as demos on concretecms.com. I suppose I could share my screen, but it's too much work. If you go to schedule a demo on our homepage and you click that, there's a little button on the next page that says free trial. And that will spin up a Concrete site on shared servers that we are running. And those are fully functional sites. It's really cool. We can upgrade them centrally. We can put them on different tracks. So really gives us all the infrastructure that we need to have a SaaS version of Concrete where you get all of the joy of running a website with it without any of the stress of managing the code. I expect that perhaps to this audience that doesn't sound wildly important because you're probably mostly engineers, and so why would you want that? A lot of people who are coming to Concrete CMS are just looking for a website, and they're evaluating us versus other web builders or SaaS platforms, and they just need something that works. So our model has always been product-led marketing. I mean, it wasn't called product-led marketing when we started, but that's what you would call it today, of let's give people a chance to play with the thing. And then as they kind of self-select and decide, yeah, it does this, but I want more, there's an opportunity for us to add more value. And that's where some capital can exchange hands. For product-led marketing to work, we got to make it really easy for people to actually play with the product. And the way it is today, you kind of have to be a bit of an engineer to set up Concrete. You got to have a shared hosting space and use Softaculous is about the easiest way to do it. And, mostly it's like, we'll go download it, set up a local LAMP install, or it's like, that's cool. But we are eliminating more than half of our audience that says, look, I just need to show my boss a site on Monday and it's Saturday. I'm already 2 beers in. Can I please have a website? Why is this so hard? So we've been trying to solve that problem. We've got the demo server has been running for months at this point, right? We launched that mid-summer, I feel like. Yeah. So very stable. Months. And we've got a production site or two in there that we've just pointed a domain at and said, yeah, that's for internal purposes just fine. And we've had great uptime with that. So we're really happy with that as kind of a $20 a month hosting solution. What it doesn't do is let you install anything from the marketplace. So it kind of falls flat because Atomic is a beautiful theme, but surely, we don't want the whole web to look like Atomic. So the obvious steps there, we need to be able to let a customer point a domain, and we need to let them install some themes and maybe a few of the add-ons from the marketplace. And so that's what we are trying to power out of Marketplace 2.0. The other cool thing that we get out of that is a very natural progression to selling marketplace extensions in a SaaS model. So, when we first built our marketplace 1.0, I think was 2009, we started that.
Yeah.
So quite some time ago. And when we did that, we got beef from the open source community that we were offering a way to buy add-ons at all. There was definitely pushback that, hey, everything should be free, it's open source. And we're like, that's cool, but like, how are we going to continue to spend our time on this? And we kind of led the way on that. In the meantime, the rest of the world is caught up. If you go to WordPress.com these days, you can absolutely buy themes. And in fact, you're going to get to pay every year for those themes. You will just get, 12 months later, you're going to get an invoice saying, hey, we're billing you again for that theme. If you don't want to pay it, you don't have to. They're not going to turn it off, but you're not going to get any version updates. You're not going to get any support out of anybody, and your website will gradually become less and less secure. WordPress very quickly it'll get less secure. So that makes sense. That is fair. I mean, we're asking our developer community to do updates to make things work with version 9. They want to do updates to make their software better. There's no sane model where $35 5 years ago gets you continued support for this theme. It's just out of balance. So we want to move to a model where that SaaS option is available. We still want to make it really easy for people to say, like, I don't need it. I'm just going to buy it as is. I'm going to call that code my own and run with it. So that's fine. But having this hosted version gets us even a step further, and we'll be able to actually install a theme, see it work, and have a free trial period for that theme too, because you don't have access to the source, right? You're just using the front end of the site. So you can see, oh, I like this theme, I like that theme, leave it there for a couple of weeks. And then when you hit that threshold, we'll say, look, do you want to pay for this for a year up front, or do you want to pay by the month? And we could bring those costs down. So you're not looking at spending a couple $100 to build all this. You could do it for a few bucks here and a few bucks there on a monthly basis. We're excited about it. I think it makes a lot of sense in the market as a whole, and kind of the bottom of the market. It makes us kind of make sense next to the web builders and whatnot. We're also able to get a better sense as to how people are using Concrete. We can see the behavior in the app, where they're getting stuck. We can improve onboarding better that way. We can return stats back from these sites. So in the big picture for Marketplace 2.0, we're looking at different ways to offer licensing instead of just always it being per install. And then we kind of had this multi-site model that it wasn't clear who that was for. Now we'll be able to report back how many users are on the site, how many pages, how much space and files. And so if you're building, something like we're working on intranet packages, and everybody in the intranet space charges per user per month or per year. So it doesn't really make sense to try to charge an upfront flat fee. So Marketplace 2.0 will be able to support all of that, and really cool. In the big picture, we will replace the public-facing Marketplace 1.0 with a new web GUI that we build that pulls data out of the Headless Marketplace 2.0 as well. But the way we're trying to get this across the finish line is to call that second phase. First phase is, hey, let's get the data model working. Let's get the subscriptions working, which they now are. We're using Stripe for all this. So marketplace vendors will get easier payouts than we've done in the past, more automated, which is exciting. Get that working so people can start playing with Concrete faster and see the great looking themes that have been upgraded for version 9 quickly. And then we will pivot back and say, okay, how do we get the rest of the legacy data out of Marketplace 1.0 and turn that off? That is really the last piece of the puzzle in our big site redesign in terms of losing the 5 and just being Concrete CMS. So Cool. There you go. There's all the secrets of what we've been working on for the last few months. It's very cool. I've been seeing demos every week as it comes together, and yeah, we're getting pretty close. I'm not going to give you a launch date today, but it's, you know, our Rumsfeld thing. The known unknowns are reducing. I think we're down to just like one mostly known unknown. So feeling pretty good. Anything to add to that, Andy, or did I cover the bases?
No, I think you covered it. It's pretty transformative platform update. Long time coming. Really excited to see how it's going to integrate with all of our with the SaaS model, and then those updates will eventually make themselves available to the kind of larger concrete ecosystem as a whole, as we iron out the kinks. But yeah, it's very, very exciting stuff, and a long time coming.
True that. All right, it's time for thank yous. So Concrete is an open source project, and we're only here because there are an awful lot of people helping. And so once a month in the town halls, we take a little time out and thank people, do some shout outs for folks that have done outstanding help. Of course, there's a lot of people that don't get mentioned in here, but there are a few names and difficult to pronounce handles that we make Andy read out loud, and he always does a great job. So Andy, can you lead the thank you chorus?
Yes, I can. Let me open up that document, or open up that tab, I should say.
There we go.
Yes, thank you everyone for helping us get the latest version of Concrete 9 out the door. That includes code updates from mlocati, v35hr4j, biplobice, and the PortlandLabs team. And thank you to folks who are opening issues for Concrete ongoing. I know we haven't gotten to them as quickly as we have perhaps in the last few months. The last couple weeks been pretty head down on this marketplace update, but you can rest assured that we'll be doing a quicker pass on GitHub in the coming weeks. Thank you to those who have opened issues, including Hissy, MR060, MarcinPrzepiorka, Coteo, asamikubota, Sixtomatic, mlocati, moriaiy, mnakalay, madesimplemedia, aohlrogge, baxterdmutt, rklomp, Luigi23N, Studio 108, Katzueno, dgoppenheimer, lamewhippet, hostco, and the PortlandLabs team. And finally, thank you to those who help keep our documentation up to date. It's very important, and we need to do more of it. Thank you to shahroq, Vasi98, and members of the PortlandLabs team.
Awesome. Good job, Andy. Thank you, everybody. A couple of new names in there and a couple of old ones I haven't heard from in a long time. It's pretty cool. All right. So also in the spirits of thank yous, we every month have a single shout out we call the Golden Baton. This is a award that we give to a special community member that has really shown their light. One of those. I think you shine a light, right? Shine their light on and in helping others. And then they have the choice of handing it on to somebody else themselves. So it kind of gets passed around. It also comes with a special badge and $250 of marketplace credit. So not an insignificant benefit. Last month, it was given to the Hutman crew, who have been around with Concrete for a long time, and asked us, well, please go ahead and give this to someone who you guys feel is special. So we asked around internally, and this month we are going to give it to a freelancer who has been around with Concrete for many, many years. As an active marketplace developer, has packages in the marketplace that we routinely are, I guess, just like impressed at the depth of solution in some corner. There'll be some aspect of it where you're like, oh yeah, and then you just kind of, oh no, wow, it really does an awful lot with that, and that's really cool. It's fun to work with somebody who you can tell really enjoys getting deep into a solution and over delivering. We've worked with him in the past for a lot of stuff, and always got that kind of passionate developer response in terms of the quality of work. And yeah, a great community member. I am, of course, talking about Fabian Bitter.
Yay.
Yay, Fabian. Good job, Fabian. If you haven't checked out Fabian's add-ons, you absolutely should. He's got a whole e-commerce package in there that is definitely worth looking at. and is a true concrete player for show. Okay. Yeah. Feeling good, looking good. I think we've got some PRB check-in and then a couple of questions, and we're going to wrap this one up. So let me see if I can add this to the stream. Yes, I can. And then play it.
Welcome to the news. Our first add-on this month is Automatic Email Obfuscator, which is a free add-on by Jero. This has an interesting history. It was created in response to a forum thread for an update status on a version 8 PHP 7 add-on, originally by Manio. This was no longer maintained, but it's MIT on GitHub. So Jero picked it up, updated version 9, PHP 8, current best practice, and released it for the marketplace. And the source is on GitHub for anyone wanting to update further. If we have a look at the original add-on, there's this screenshot explaining what it does. It scrambles up email addresses as they're output by the server, and then some JavaScript on the page unscrambles them. And the concept is that email harvesting bots just see the scrambled message and don't harvest anything, but humans get to see the actual email and can use it. Next, we have donations by DE Webmakers. This is $75 in the marketplace, and it's currently version 8 only. There's a front-end block to collect donations from visitors. Then there's a back-end page that tracks what donations have been made, and also you can send a thank you email to say thank you for your donation. And then behind the scenes, it integrates with PayPal for payment processing, and you can configure things like the email and what PayPal account it attaches to, and you can also use PayPal's test mode while you're setting it up. That's it from me, so over to Noor for the second half of this month's news.
Thank you, John, and hello, Concrete CMS community. So today I'll start with a simple little package, Page Counter by a developer for Concrete 5. Very simply, comes with a block, drop it on a page, and it counts visits. So it offers a few useful options, like starting from a specific number or resetting the counter. The purpose of this block is not statistical accuracy. It's a quick way to display visit numbers to other visitors, but it does that very efficiently. It's not Concrete V9 ready yet, and it's $20 in the marketplace. My second package is a big one. It's a form reform by John the Fish. This is probably the most flexible form package you can imagine. First, it's built on top of Concrete blocks system. So each and every field in your form is a block. You need an input type, it's a block. You want a text box or a text area, it's a block. The submit button, a honeypot, they're all blocks. So you build your form like you're adding blocks to your page. So when it comes to designing your form, the sky is the limit. There is absolutely no problem. If you know how to template a block, you can template your form. If for whatever reason you want to add a content block or an image block or any other kind of block in the middle of your form, well, you can. Second, it's all built on top of pipelines. So you have full control over how the data is handled, over what actions are taking place when submitting the form and in what order. Most form systems have a very rigid submission pipeline, but form reform doesn't. For instance, you can choose to save the data any way you want, in a database, in a session, in a CSV file, both. You can decide to use Ajax or not. You can decide to send the data by email, multiple emails, any way you want. You can analyze the data, validate it, manipulate it, save it any way, in any order you want. You can also show and hide inputs depending on different validation patterns that you define. You want to only show an input if another input has a specific value, you can do that. And the best, you can have a different pipeline for each form, or the same one for all the forms. So it's very easy to use and very, very, very powerful. And finally, it is extendable. So you can create your own input blocks, your own submission handlers, and you can do anything you want. So I know it sounds like you need to be developer to make the most of it, but actually you don't, because this package already comes with so many input types and handlers, probably more than you'll ever need. And I can only imagine the most specific edge cases where you would need to develop anything, but it's good to know you can. So obviously this is not a package for your simple contact forms, but for more demanding forms, you'd be hard pressed to find anything with this level of flexibility. So it is Concrete V9 and PHP 8 ready. It's been battle tested on a few websites, and it's priced at $70. Thank you very much for your time, and take care. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you, PRB. Pretty cool. That looks like
Awesome.
a pretty beefy form builder, so I know that will be well received. All right, let's see. Well, just a couple of minutes here left in our town hall. Congrats on the marketplace for money. Thank you.
Thanks,
it's pretty
Lenny.
exciting to see it come together. Yeah. Let's see. I got a couple of other questions in my notes. John the Fish is asking about our release notes for 8.5.10 versus 8.5.12, and I've been looking as we've been watching, and yeah, it's a mess. I think the main differences between them really are in supporting old versions of PHP.
Yes.
Which we have much better testing for now.
Yes, removing code that is fine in PHP 7+, but would break in PHP 5.5.9, which 8.5 still supports. So those are literally the only changes. So you can you don't have to worry about that for your own personal edification, but you are correct that we should make sure that there are release notes for every version, even if it's literally just one line. So yeah, we will update those and make sure that we have release notes for all that stuff. And moving forward.
Yeah, I think we might just have an old link on the landing page or something. So that is good catch, and it's on the list. Let's see. Here's a good one. Hello, says our Haslam. Are there plans to encourage add-on developers to update their add-ons for version 9? Sure. How about a shiny new marketplace? Do it. No.
Come on, everybody. You can do
Been
it.
there for a minute. So, yeah, I mean, I think the reality is, look, this is not insignificant work. And, there's got to be balance. So I know Formidable, for example, is now available for version 9. It's available as a new add-on. So, it's been years since they wrote Formidable for version 6 and then 7 and then 8. And now, hey, a fair amount of rethink to make it behave on version 9. We're chatting with them, and it's just like, yeah, there's got to be a real reason to do this beyond making the world a better place. So we were perfectly happy to say, go ahead, sell it as a new add-on. Make it so people can upgrade if they're migrating their site. There's a path, but I just think that having some fair compensation is going to be a big motivator. So our hope is that with Marketplace 2.0, getting to a place where there's an expectation that, look, if you want this software to continue working well for years, you're going to have to make that worth the while for people to choose to spend their time building that software instead of selling new projects. So we hope that will be a big motivator. We also think that getting people into a concrete site quickly is going to kind of open the market up a little bit more than what we've been doing for the last couple of years. So I would expect that with more traffic and the ability to do recurring revenue, that'll be highly motivating. I also think, I mentioned just very briefly, being able to build licenses around different metering metrics will be a big deal. So for example, I know that the community store add-on in GitHub is in GitHub because the promise of making having to provide support for a fixed amount of money that was spent some time ago, particularly on something like e-commerce, is really challenging. I know we had an e-commerce add-on for version 7 and earlier, and we found that to be the case. We sold it for $125 a pop, which I think to much of the world is like, this is really expensive. I could get Spotify. I could try Spotify for $20. Like, what are you guys doing? But then the reality is, yeah, or not Spotify, I mean Shopify. But Shopify, like by the time you actually use that thing and upgrade to the plan you really need and spend a couple years running it, a couple $1,000s has exchanged hands. So we just were never able to figure out a way to do that with a kind of one price fits all. And so I think bringing in different models where we can share metrics within the platform, and maybe even extending that so you could create your own metrics, and maybe an e-commerce solution could say, look, the first 3 products are free, but there's thresholds after that where we're going to charge you different amounts of money. That's where we want to get in the big picture. So hopefully that helps.
Do you also think it's safe to be explicit about the fact that, or well, I'll ask you if you want to be explicit about the fact, or if you want to make this the case or not. But do you think it's fair to say that to be in Marketplace 2.0, your add-on has to support version 9?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured that was the case, but I thought we should be explicit about that. But again, it's just less of us berating you for not jumping on and doing a lot more work to support something new that we made. And hopefully the benefits of the new marketplace, for all the reasons Franz has stated, will make developers want to really adopt it and by extension update their add-ons to the latest and greatest.
Cool. Oil on Canvas asks, what is the problem with the timeout when trying to download/install add-ons from the marketplace V9?
I do not know
what that means.
I know that there may have been, I'm not sure off the top of my head what this is referring to. Sounds like it could potentially be a server configuration issue because we're not hearing this across all the platforms. It could also be perhaps a redirect, or the fact that we require SSL and things of that nature.
Yeah, if you're trying to connect your site directly to the marketplace from within your site and do that shopping, sometimes there are like if you don't have curl installed, or if your server has any kind of firewalling going, it won't actually make that connection. So that probably is a forum post that you could do, and you'll get some help from someone or us. And yeah. All right. Well, I need to be somewhere else right now, and we've unloaded a lot of news. So I think I'm gonna make a forum post to talk about this as well, because I'm sure I've sparked all sorts of ideas and interests. So probably makes sense to do outside of the context of our town hall, in the interest of brevity and all. That's what I know. There's already a video placeholder set up for our town hall in December, so we can add that to your calendar, and we will see you then.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, everybody.